Your problems can be your answer. What I mean by this is, if you can handle hurt, disappointment, and loss, you can own the world. You will be invincible.
Is it possible for you to shift your energy even in the midst of a difficult situation? And can you use your difficult situation to bring forth the greatness inside you?
What would it be like to move through all difficulties with ease? Well, in this video, you're going to learn how to do just that. So I'd love to know your comments on, have you struggled with getting over hurt, loss, and disappointment? Did you get into the swirl of all of that? If you are, you're like most people, but here are some wonderful strategies to move you forward. Now, you're going to want to stay tuned to the last one, because this one at the end is one that you can use really quick to help move you from a place you don't want to be to the place you do want to be. All right. Number one, don't personalize what the other person is saying or doing that is hurtful to you. Maybe there's some information there that you want to just make note of. If it's something simple like, I'd rather you not say such and such, well, then you want to listen to that and care enough about the other person to say, okay. But if it crosses a line and becomes critical, negative, and more about you in a way that is hurtful, here is your point. Number one, don't personalize it. You know why? It's coming from them. And a person can't say something to you that does not come from inside of them first. So who is it really about? It's about them. And the best thing to do right at that moment is to maybe find an easy way to end that conversation and forgive and move on. Because if you become hurtful back, well, what's the difference? They hurt you, you hurt them. It's messy and it doesn't resolve anything. And what you and I are looking to do is live the most positive, productive life we can. Number one, don't personalize. It's more about them than it is you. So forgive and move on.
There's a great story in the Bible that represents this particular point. I remember Joseph in the book of Genesis. And Joseph is this young man that has this beautiful coat of many colors, sort of like the beautiful one that you've got on today. And his father had given this to him. He was the favorite, but because of this, it produced jealousy in the brothers. And so through a series of events, Joseph is going out to his brothers. His brothers see him coming and they concoct a story that they're going to get rid of Joseph and present his coat to their father, saying, you know, it looks like something has happened to Joseph. And through this, Joseph gets sold into Egyptian slavery. Woo. The brothers take the story back to the father. He's gone. We don't know what happened to him. And here is his coat with blood on it. And it looks like Joseph is gone. So here we have the brothers over here that know what they've done. And in a separate place, we have Joseph, who has now been put into an environment to become who he really is. But for Joseph, it is a very difficult situation. Now, Joseph can take one of two paths. He can head down a path that will remain difficulty, a path that is going to take him into slavery and keep him in a very difficult and depressed state for the rest of his life. Or he can change this situation and recognize that out of this situation, his greatness is going to come. Because as he gets in to the courts of Pharaoh, the wife, of course, tries to make a move on Joseph Joseph escapes from it, resisting the temptation, but the wife accuses him falsely. So his difficult situation now just gets even more difficult. And what is he to do? Become angry? Become bitter? Allow this to take him down that path that will not reveal his greatness? Or, again, recognize that he has a purpose in his life and there is something greater for him on the other side of the difficult situation. He's thrown into a prison. He gets isolated, but in that prison, listen, he didn't get depressed. He didn't allow it to become his nemesis. What he did was become the victor. He made friends in the prison. He became in charge of some things inside of the prison where he had been falsely put and falsely accused. And a short time later, Joseph is let out of that prison. He interprets the dreams of the Pharaoh and is elevated to second in position in the kingdom. Now, I want you to understand this. Are difficult situations hard? Absolutely. Every one of us have been in a difficult situation. Every one of us have been through some hard times. But what did Joseph do when he was elevated to the top and here come his brothers needing something that was going to save their life? And Joseph had the power at that point to either forgive them or put them in a prison, which they really deserved if you think of it that way. But Joseph instead, once he revealed himself to his brothers through a series of situations, said this to him, very powerful words. I have been put in this position for this time, because at this time I'm able to save your lives, and I forgive you.
Well, that's a great story, and it's an important story, and I think all of us can relate to that. I love that Joseph got to the place where he wasn't personalizing.
Right.
He got to the place where he forgave. And here's another important principle. Joseph decided to not isolate. That's the biggest point. When you're hurt, when you're dealing with difficulty, when you've been wounded, the worst thing you can do is to isolate, to be by yourself. I know it feels like it, and you feel sorry for yourself, and so maybe give yourself a day at the most to do that. But like Joseph, we've got choices to make. When you're hurt, when you're disappointed, you can stay in that energy. You can stay in those feelings by taking it on you. Oh, it's all about me and no one likes me. Or you can choose to not personalize. You can choose to forgive, and you can choose also to be around people that are positive, loving, helpful. They have good energy.
Remember that you have the authority within inside of you to choose the path. And Joseph had that as well. And he could let that difficult situation make him a victim. Or he could take that difficult situation, turn it around to make him the victor. This is where you live today. That you would begin to take that and allow the gift that is already inside of you to come forth from your difficulties that are happening today.
Well, there's another important element to living invincible in your world. So watch this video to discover the first word in the Bible, which is a mystery that very few understand about the power of God's love for you and I.